Do I have to say? Take one.
Can you tell me your name and your occupation?
Christian Davidson, and I'm an actor.
I'm Paula. I'm a barber by trade and I teach.
My name is Jeff, and by trade I'm a French polisher, but at the moment I'm doing security.
My name's Marilyn Dennis and I am an SEN case officer.
I'm Conrad Plenty and I'm a psychodynamic therapist.
What do you think of the RFID chip, and would you get one?
The RAF.
No. Don't trust it.
Definitely not. Don't trust anything that the government are telling us to put in our bodies.
I don't even know what an RFID chip is, and
What is the RFI chip exactly?
RFID. I've never heard of that before.
I think it's part of a bigger plan that we're not being truly told what it is.
For me, when it comes to healing, I'd rather do self-healing or alternative healing. I'm not into anything that's been put into my body that has been proved.
I wouldn't be interested in getting any kind of chip or foreign body.
I've heard of different chips, but I don't know what this particular chip is about.
No.
Since lockdown, there's been so much stuff coming out, not so much on the news, but on social media.
I don't think that anything like that would do me any good on any level.
I'm assuming it would be inserted into my body, isn't it? So, no.
Well, I've heard that chips are like implants that they're looking to put in human beings, if you like, to kind of monitor, I suppose, and in the worst case scenario, change our DNA.
So my main source of information at the moment is WhatsApp. So people send me posts or video clips, or I go on YouTube, but I don't trust the chip at all.
I think they've got ulterior motives. I can't actually put my finger on it, but I would say maybe somehow to tag us some way, because I've heard that they've got chips in here that can like follow you around or whatever. I think maybe it's a control thing, somewhere along them lines.
That's a new one.
You know, but I know there's all kind of talk about, you know, AI and the future of AI and how we interact with that. So us having a chip in us will perhaps enable us to be part of that system.
Do you have a document called the certified copy of an entry, and do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
That's an interesting one. Is that to do with the permission to enter into a particular country? Is that what that's about?
A certified copy of an entry. Is that like birth certificate or something? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Not that I know of.
Of a certain century.
Well, I've heard of many things, but as you read it out like that, then it kind of, I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. It sounds like you're talking about birth certificate or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've never heard it mentioned in those words.
Or is it a passport of some kind, or?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Not really, no.
No.
It's a copy, yes, of when I was born. I believe my parents had to register my birth. This is what we're told, you know. And so it has my birth date and my parents' names and occupation, I think, as well. Yes.
Do you have a document called a birth certificate?
I have a birth certificate.
I think I'm warming up to this now. Yes, I do have a birth certificate.
I don't have a copy of my birth certificate. I have that, well, I have what I've told you is I think is a birth certificate. But when my children were born, the certificate I have for them is nothing like the one that I had. So that's why, you know, I'm not sure exactly what you mean when you say that.
Yes.
As far as I know, it's one to be yes.
Did you know that they are the same document, but you believe it is called a birth certificate, which in fact it is not? What's your thought on that?
I vaguely remember reading You know, you have to go back into your long-term memory, reading something of the kind. I can't remember the detail around it, but yeah.
That is a very good question, because I like to find out more information about these new inventions or different names of, like, you know, alternatives, what they like to call like a birth certificate. So it begs the question what it is that they like to call it a birth certificate. Why do they call it like that if it's something else? So it does make me beg to actually understand why.
I'm aware that there is a second document, but when I first found out, I was shocked. But I remembered that when my daughter was born, I was given the full birth certificate. And then when I needed to make a copy, I was just given a short version of a birth certificate. And then when I went to certain institutions to use it as evidence, they said, oh no, we need to see the big one.
Well, now you've said that, I know that it's not clear. It's not clear exactly what it means.
Certified copy of an entry. Certified copy of an entry. No, there's nothing there that says certified copy of an entry. It says birth, but no certificate.
And that the one that I have now is actually not the real thing, and that's my trade name.
It says, warning, a certificate is not evidence of entry.
Of what?
Of, identity.
Yes, that's what's emerging now. That I'm beginning to find out that it's not clear exactly what my birth certificate means. Does it mean that?
As far as I know, right, one's a document of entry. Oh, they're both called birth documents of entry, but not classed as a birth certificate.
No, it doesn't. Just obviously with like just, if you want to put it in a way that explains if it is indeed a birth certificate, it gives you the details of the birth and a certified copy of an entry of the birth and death.
It doesn't look like the one that I had. It looks a bit different than the ones.
Certificate of entry. Certificate of entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it actually say birth certificate on it?
No, it doesn't. I think people just, pursuant to the Births and Deaths Registration Act, but it doesn't actually say a birth certificate. But we've called it a birth certificate, haven't we?
Solely, this is when I was born, and these are who my parents are, etc., or does it mean something else in relation to my relationship with the state or the government as such?
Why is it written differently? So why don't we have one that says this is a copy of your birth certificate, and instead of saying this?
If you're actually referring to the actual words birth certificate, it wouldn't be like this, that's for sure.
It doesn't say birth certificate at all.
Deception.
Elaborate.
They're telling us something that isn't there, or they're trying to convince us something other than what it is. Illusion, deception.
I think they've just, like everything, because something happened the other day, and I was about to challenge it, because as far as I was concerned, the legislation, the procedures that they'd put in place weren't actually correct in law. So I would assume that this is also, people have just decided that this is a form of identity, a loose form of identity.
It says certified copy of entry pursuant to the Births and Deaths Registration Act, 1953.
And at the bottom it says certificate is not evidence of identity.
Certified copy of entry. This obviously gives you the general details about the person, and at the bottom it does state a certificate is not evidence of identity, but that's just general sort of knowledge anyway.
Warning, a certificate is not evidence of ID, really? I've been told to bring my birth certificate to prove myself. A certificate is not evidence of identity. What's going on here? This is getting confusing.
Yeah, true, good point. I think because when you're born, you're literally told that you need to get to register the birth.
This is the first time I've ever seen this.
Hence why we call it a birth certificate, because we believe that the fact that you're born means you need a certificate to prove that. That's the assumption, that you get a certificate to prove and to log in the system that your child is born and is therefore now part of the system.
This is why we need to be educated.
Cash or cashless society, and why?
Cash.
I'd say cashless.
They can't get rid of cash.
A cashless society, I'm very suspicious of, and where I'm quite concerned that they're moving towards a cashless society, and they're making it more difficult for you to do transactions in cash.
Well, it seems like we're heading towards a cashless society, which for some people it sounds good.
It's what I'm used to. It's what I do. Every week I take out a certain amount of money in the bank, and that's my pocket money.
I'll tell you what will happen. I've been thinking about this lately. If they got rid of cash, definitely someone would create an alternative currency that we could use.
So I believe that we are living in a time or society where we can evolve. We can move forward by using like contactless, which is what people tend to use nowadays.
I have my doubts about it because it kind of implies that that we are not fully in control of our finances.
So if I want to buy clothes, if I want to buy food, and if I want to pay small bills, I'll just use my cash.
Also, with the situation that we're going through right now, like the pandemic, passing on like, sort of like, not say the virus, but you're passing on like your molecules from like your hand to money. That's just another example, just many examples. But
So like, for example, now you can't transfer. Before, I used to be able to go into, so like if someone wanted to borrow a tenner from you, you'd be able to go into their bank, into their bank, which was maybe different from yours, and just drop the money in their account. But now you can't do it. You have to transfer it from your bank to another.
Yes, I have pounds, coins in my pocket. If I want something, I go and buy it. Cashless means everything is either paid by card or perhaps some kind of chip.
When you do things by card, there's evidence of your movements. So they can track and predict not so much predict, but they can track and know where you go, where you spend, how much you spend, how often you go there.
money, I just feel like it's just part of the past now. I really feel it's something that it belongs in the museum. Nowadays, you've got like, how shall I put it? It might be referring to the wrong thing here, but I really felt like they should be like one of those chips where you put on your wrist and you can use your wrist as a means of payment.
We can't have a cashless society. It just wouldn't work.
A lot of transactions are when you go into a shop, especially at the moment during COVID, they're very reluctant to take cash. A lot of the time, I want to pay cash because I've got the cash on me, and sometimes you don't want your bank to know what transactions you've made. Especially, and sometimes if it's low-level cash, why should you be paying £2 on your card?
Once that gets into our skin. So yeah, I do have reservations about that, because what else is being taken out of our control?
If I go to the pub and I buy a pint of cider, they know I do that maybe 4 or 5 times a week. If I go swimming and I use a local health centre, they know that I do that.
you know, it's like on the film Total Recall. They want to make a phone call. All he had to do is put his hand on a glass, and then next thing you know, he's making a phone call, sort of thing. You know, there's so much like, you know, ideas, but that's just obviously from an artist's perspective. You know, something completely different. But when it comes to like contactless, I just really thought that is the way forward. It really makes life so much easier. It's just straightforward.
A cashless society, I'm very concerned about, but then that's when it suits them, because I was, a couple of years ago, I was trying to transfer a lot, not in working class terms, quite a large amount of money from one person to another. And it was like I was in front of the police. And I explained to them, this is my money. So they asked me to prove it, otherwise I wasn't going to get it. So they put me through a number of security questions, which I failed because I didn't remember. And then I said to them, if I don't get my money, I'm going to go to the press.
From what I've heard about Bitcoin, I'm not a big fan of it. People keep sending me things to invest in it, but I keep hearing a lot of people that they're scamming people.
You know, and what else would that imply, you know, as well? So yeah.
And that's by card, just by this tapping and contactless. So that's why I'm not for the card, because every movement of yours is tracked.
Because that money is coming from a legal source. So why do I have to prove? So I would say that cash needs to be around, and people need to decide how they want to pay and make transactions.
I wouldn't invest in Bitcoin, not right now. If it became a cashless society now, I may look at it again. But as things are right now, I wouldn't go near it.
Okay, so going back to the first question when I asked you about what do you think of the RFID chip, would you get one?
That's what I was referring to. I think that's what it is.
You just explained it. So would you get one?
I would get one, yes, but then I would also look at the how should I put it? If they were to release one, for example, let's say tomorrow, I'd wait for about maybe a month just to get the reviews, to get like the idea of any faults or anything like that, because I always do that with every sort of like device. You know, like a console, for example, I like to see the first batch because usually it fails. Look at one of the Note. You know, they said it's going to be good. It turns to be like an explosive device because it was just causing so many problems, combustion when charging. So it didn't really, you know, settle very well.
If given the choice, no.
So that's why I like to wait for a little while longer. And I can't imagine the implications that people would have having chips on their wrist or wherever it'll be implanted, just to try and, you know, establish ways to pay. So I don't know if that was the case. I mean, if they were going to have a chip, it cannot be metal for obvious reasons, especially going through like, you know, the places you're in, because of magnetic sort of waves around the area. Detectors, for example, if you want to travel abroad, you know, I can't imagine that the detector going off repeatedly. But
what does that actually say?
New Hearts rules.
World-beating fiasco? World-beating fiasco.
Production.
I honestly don't know. Sorry.
Can I? Production.
Well, I can read it. It looks it to me.
Supposedly.
Before I would have said yes, but because I encountered a guy called something Windmiller, what's his name?
Yes, my understanding, yes.
It's a language of the word yes.
David Windmiller, and he spoke about linguistics and syntax grammar and the origin of words and the English and the words that we speak and the way we interpret the meaning of those words is not actually correct.
This is one of the trick questions. Well, I think so. Production.
It's all in capital letters.
I think the reason why people will assume that it's English is the Oxford Style Guide. So the assumption is it's sanctioned by some learned institution. So you associate it with Oxford University.
That's okay. But are you reading it as English?
Yes, as far as I know.
As far as I know, I am, yeah.
Do you know what an acronym is?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it as an example.
Newhart's rules?
No.
Acronym. Oh, gosh, let me think what acronym is now.
I don't remember.
New Hearts Rules, was it? Oxford Style Guide.
Oxford Style Guide. So I need to look up the word acronym.
Isn't an acronym the way a word is presented, or yes, in scripts?
Acronyms are formed from the initial letters of words.
Acronyms are sometimes defined specifically as words.
Formed from the initial letters of other words.
And pronounced as words themselves.
It's the New Hearts Rules book.
AWOL, PIN.
AWOL, yeah. PIN. Oh, bug off, yeah.
AWOL is absent without leave.
But bug off, like, you know, buy one, get one free sort of thing.
Or words formed from the initial letters of other words and pronounced as words themselves.
I don't know what PIN is.
Can't really tell.
There could be so many iterations of that word. I can only imagine, like, the 5 letters
I don't know.
that all represent on this. It could be like, I suppose it depends on where the word, if you're trying to connect it with other, you know, sentences.
Buy one, get one free.
But bug off is buy one, get one free.
I suppose the answer to that question, you can actually answer it in ways like it's different for everyone.
Because you're not taught that at school. You're not taught to break down the acronyms of words when they're written a certain way.
Yeah, absent without leave, buy one, get one free, PIN. Not sure what PIN is.
You know, everyone can translate it in their own ways if they can actually understand what the acronym is of each letter of that word, if it's broken down.
Yeah, those are acronyms.
Absent without lead.
Doesn't say. I don't really have a clue.
No, because then that would be a totally different meaning.
This is a very good question.
So, if it is English, then it can only be an acronym within the English language. So what does it stand for?
I don't know.
Each letter from production.
This is bizarre. Right.
The Watkins Dictionary of Magic.
No idea.
The Watkins Dictionary of Magic.
Watkins Dictionary of Magic.
Yes?
Yeah.
This is called the Watkins Dictionary of Magic.
The Watkins Dictionary of Magic, over 3,000 entries of the world of magical formulas,
Secret symbols and
The occult.
Okay, Neville Drury.
in the Kabbalah, acronyms are said to have related symbolic meanings.
Where is it? Oh, got it, yeah.
Oh yeah, acronym.
Acronyms were said to have related symbolic meanings.
a word formed from the initial letters of other words. For example, laser derives from light amplification by the stimulated emission of radiation.
In the Kabbalah, acronyms were said to have related symbolic meanings.
Yes, that's true. Good point.
Okay.
Right.
I never knew that about laser.
Over 3,000 entries on the world of magical formulas, secret symbols, and the occult.
Now, you just read the word acronym.
Yeah.
So the word acronym is a magical word.
It's called the Watkins Dictionary of Magic.
So what does it stand for? Production?
Ah, produce.
No.
No, oh no.
Thank you.
Oh my God, yeah, you're making sense now. Production, right.
Must have some relationship with magic.
Do you hold a passport or a driving license?
I have a passport.
Both.
Yes.
P, program.
Yeah, I do.
take a rough guess. P for program.
I know it's not my property either.
Do you have a bank card?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have your bank card on you?
Yes, I do.
No, my bank card is C plenty. Initial C plenty.
Yeah, because you're producing something. R.
Obviously, seeing it as my name, Mr. C.
It's written in capital letters.
Your name is written as an acronym. So please can you tell me what each letter stands for?
It kind of changes my understanding, yes, of an acronym.
I would say P would probably starts with programming you or program.
Okay, so obviously, would you class Mr. as an acronym? MR, because obviously that is, isn't it? Because it'd be MISTER. Acronym, like abbreviated, like, you know, letters to make it abbreviated into smaller context. C for my first name, Chris.
Are you sure it's Chris?
I can't think off the top of my head. No,
I'm not sure what the rest are.
So why is it written like that?
it's an acronym. But me knowing my name, I couldn't break down what the P and the L and the I and the E stands for.
That to me, honestly, is an unknown. All I know is obviously just my name. It just being put onto there. The name that was given to me from my parents, and that's all I know, obviously. But when it's capitalized,
My name is my name, so
Well, the fact that it says in the Kabbalah, the acronyms are said to have related symbolic meanings, kind of
yes, it is. Yeah, the surname just in the capitalized. So, what would you think stands for?
I can't because it's PROD, I don't know, produce. No, I couldn't.
I don't know then what my acronym is.
so does it mean? I don't know what it means then.
You're using it but not knowing what you're using.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Good point, yes.
If an acronym is an illusion and your name is written as an acronym, is that you?
In my mind, yes, but in my heart, I don't think it is.
Of my name. God, I couldn't.
What does it mean?
Oh, I haven't got a clue.
I don't think so. I don't think it should be me if it's written in the form of an acronym. I don't think it should be me.
If it's written in an acronym, it's not.
Honestly, that's why I like to do some research and finding out.
I don't.
But you
As far as it's my name, if you're talking about acronyms, I don't know what that means in my name. But if you've written my name on a birth certificate, all I know is it says Paula.
In lowercase.
Why? Because that's...
Because then there's no confusion that every letter means something individually.
Okay.
To understand it more, because otherwise, if I were just to nod it off and thinking that's it, that's my name, that's what it is.
I can't believe these. This is all illusion.
And that's all it should say. My name, Paula. The name Paula meaning small.
It's a good question. I don't know, but obviously it was done like that for a reason.
Without knowing the full, understanding of this,
The symbolic book.
and of course, of that.
It's a magic book of magic.
That's the family that I belong to. That's all that it should mean and nothing else.
It would be an acronym in the English language.
Yeah. High level people, enlightened people, enlightenment.
So can you tell me what your name stands for on your passport, your driving license and your bank card if you look?
To perhaps, take a part of me or use a part of me. That's what's coming to mind.
Yeah. It's not real. If they're using my name as an acronym, that doesn't make sense. It's confusing.
Good point.
People don't know about this. I didn't know. What else are they doing?
How would we find out?
So you know that acronym now is all capital letters.
This one's called the Chicago Manual of Style.
Essential guide for writers, editors, and publishers.
It's called the Chicago Manual of Style, 16th edition.
Foreign languages.
Foreign languages.
The heading itself, or the one that's not highlighted, foreign languages.
Right, 11 foreign languages.
The heading is foreign languages.
Which one? The glosses?
American Sign Language.
Well, the first highlight is Latin, and the bottom is American Sign Language.
Glosses in ASL.
American Sign Language.
The written language transcription of a sign is called a gloss.
All right, there we go. The written language transcription of a sign is called a gloss.
Glosses are words from the spoken language written in small capital letters.
So they're all written in small but capital letters. Okay, that's what glosses are. Okay, so alternatively, regular capital letters may be used.
Woman, school, cat. Alternatively, regular capital letters may be used.
When two or more written words are used to gloss a single sign, the glosses are separated by hyphens, which is what they do in the passport.
The glosses are separated by hyphens. The translation is enclosed in double quotation marks. Should I continue?
The translation is enclosed in double quotation marks.
So the sign for a car drove by is written vehicle drive by.
The sign for a car drove by is written vehicles drive by.
So you know where it says, you just said, a car drove by.
Yeah.
How is that written?
It's written in capital. Oh, that's small letters.
And then what's the vehicle drive by?
That's big letters.
And what's in between them?
Hyphens.
Well, it says that it describes written language as a gloss, which is interesting. I never looked at it in that way before.
So a sign for a car drove by is written in lowercase, but it's written in all uppercase with the hyphens in it.
We've seen the difference between the acronym and the sign language.
One obvious limitation of the use of glosses from the spoken/written language to represent signs is that there is no one-to-one
correspondence between the words or signs in any two languages.
So do you understand what that's saying?
Not really.
That's why I'm reading it again just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that the understanding of
It's not one-to-one correspondence. I'm not sure what they mean by that.
So one obvious limitation of the use of glosses from the spoken or written language to represent signs is that there is no one-to-one correspondence between the words or signs in any two languages.
Okay, so what are you asking me? What do I therefore think about it?
I have seen certain words that translated, for example, like what it says here, a car drive by as a vehicle drive by. I'm trying to look at other examples what they like to use.
Then there's a problem, isn't there? What is the meaning? What's the interpretation?
So let's drop down to 11.149.
A gloss is, well, it's not actual. It's not what really is.
Which is finger spelling.
Right, I got that, yeah. Finger spelling.
Finger spelling.
Okay, finger spelling. For proper nouns and other words borrowed from the spoken language. The signer may fingerspell the word.
Using the hand shapes from the manual alphabet.
There are numerous finger-spelling alphabets used by different sign languages, among them the American Manual Alphabet.
Yes, fingerspelled words may be transcribed in any of the following ways.
Finger-spelled words may be transcribed in any of the following ways.
Finger spelling, John in capitals, or J-O-N with dashes in between each word, and they can be either capital or lowercase.
So John, or JOHN as the capitalized, or John again but lowercase.
So it's got John written in capitals, small capitals, or John written with a hyphen between each letter, or John lowercase with a hyphen between each letter.
John, all in uppercase.
John.
Capitals completely.
Or John, J with a hyphen, O with a hyphen, H with a hyphen, N. Or John, small letters, J hyphen, O hyphen, H hyphen, N.
The Chicago Manual of Style.
So is the English translation there of John?
No.
Is the English version there? No. Because the English version would be a capital J and all the other letters lowercase. So no, it's not.
The Chicago Manual of Style, 16th edition.
If it was like in sign language, I wouldn't be able to speak it.
What does it mean?
Okay.
It's now I've seen it for many years, thinking, is this a security thing?
Well, not really. Well, it's in lowercase. That's how John should be, with the first letter capital.
That's mind-boggling. Because why are you doing that then? Because if I'm filling in a document and I write my name with a capital P and then all the other letters presiding in lowercase, that is how you should write it, because that's how I recognize my name. But then you're changing it without my authority. So that means then I am not the person you're writing to or corresponding to.
Well, that's the thing. Like with this one obviously would be, how shall I put it? This could actually be more finger spelling, like translated to it. But that's only the original name, though, isn't it?
They're just not educating us. No one's telling us anything.
Somebody else.
Yeah, I've never known anything to like, birth certificate. Like you said, you saw the first name's lowercase. That's understandable, obviously, for that's English. But when it comes to like writing the surname, if you saw the first name on the birth certificate, that's what they like to call it, as a birth certificate. If the first part is already lowercase and then the second part, wouldn't it change your opinion of like what the name is?
It's my understanding. But here it's got either they're all capital, or they're capital with hyphens, or they're lowercase with hyphens.
They write your name in capital letters.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that you?
No, it's not.
So who is it?
A company?
Probably a company that they're floating on the stock market.
Or does it identify me exclusively?
It's written as sign language and not as English language.
God, look how stupid we are, man. Well, someone's not telling us the whole truth.
Yeah, there's a warning because I know that a lot of people tend to use it.
Well, in terms of passport, for example, I'm curious as to why it's written the way it's written.
More information. I need to do more research and get into it a bit more. Be more aware of what's going on.
I should do because it's my name, but then I don't own it because I don't have rights to it because I don't know about it.
It is like an eye-opener, and it's like as if it was already there in front of me, but I just didn't really know that the information was actually brought to my knowledge, like in this sort of light.
What's the meaning of that? Why is it not written in English as opposed to in the sign language?
There's the birth certificate number at the top right-hand corner.
Yeah.
They're the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. But are they?
Different, and the dates at the bottom are different.
Is that number assigned to a person? I really don't know. Is this... No, it should be, because that's like 800 and what...
Especially when I see certain like acronyms that are around us every single day. You get letters through the post. You see the names on my bank card, even on the app on my phone. You'd see that, and it just makes me like really question that as to like how they try to like communicate, how they can contact me through like as a person or as a company.
Everything should be the same on that document. So why are the two numbers different on the top right hand corner?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I noticed the numbers because the numbers should be exactly the same at the top.
Right, they've given you a number.
There you go.
That's your number.
So why are the numbers different?
Oh my God. What is going on? Oh no. So basically, they're saying this is 3 different people. Well, it could be saying that.
That's interesting. I've never noticed that before. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure.
never noticed it before.
Especially if they see as like, what I like to know is if I owed money, for example, right, would they contact the company to get the money for what's owed?
A certificate is not evidence of identity.
It should always be the same, because whenever you get a new driver's license or a new passport, your number is always the same. It's just a booklet that changes. So these two numbers here should be the same, and they're not. But why?
Warning.
And what does it say at the bottom again?
Warning, a certificate is not evidence of ID. Well, what is then?
The name is, the number is
The
different.
number's always different.
Different. That's for sure, because obviously I've never actually, like, I am very open to like learning and understanding like a lot of new rules and legislations and everything else, and actually the translation of certain things that I was so accustomed to know.
It's written in lowercase. The writing is in lowercase.
What is?
I don't know. I'd query it.
Yeah, but when you go to a bank or somewhere, they say bring some ID with you, right? You bring you either bring this, your license, or your thingy. So why are they saying two different things? Why are they saying bring your ID and they accept this as ID, but other documents they won't?
In capitals.
Right. So that must mean that it's either an acronym or it's sign language.
No, the warning is written in capital letters.
Like the birth certificate, for example, acronym for like capitalized names on the cards. I will now see these differently in the future, without doubt.
Pursuant to the Deaths and Births. The Births and Deaths Registration Act, 1953. So what happened before 1953?
Man, how are they getting away with this? God, man. This is what it's like to be asleep. Most of the world's asleep, and this is what happens.
They're not writing it in English. Is that a sign language? Okay. Yes.
People, we need to wake up. They're doing things to us, but we just don't even know. We're all asleep.
So are you saying that, so like for example, because millions of people are in a horrendous amount of debt at the moment, and they're doing all sorts. So are you saying I can now turn around and say to a debtor, that actually isn't me?
Any letter that comes in my name, I could say, actually, that's not me, because that's a corporation. You need to go to the corporation and get that money, because that's not me. And I don't have to divulge any information.
Well, it seems quite misleading, I suppose, and there must be a reason for that. Why it's misleading in that sense, in the way, especially the way the birth certificate is formed, and in terms of the explanation about an acronym and what an acronym means in American Sign Language and so on. So yeah, there is something not said about why it's put that way.
But I thought your name, when you were in your birth certificate, the way your name is.
Honestly, with this knowledge, it's great to actually share that with me, because I am going to read up on this now.
That's messed up. So the whole world and the whole society has just been deceived completely. And we're just getting milked So we're just paying. So all the money that we're paying is going to a secret pot that they've got, that they're using for their own things. That's why they can have these rules.
Well, it'll make me question, why is it in capital letters if that's not the English language? You know, why is it written that way? What's the reason behind that?
It's an acronym, so they're using it for other things as well.
Capitals. So you're a company? It's so confusing, it is. For the normal person, it's like, you're just sending people around in circles. And even when they do tell you this, people don't understand this because this is not something that's taught to people. So they don't understand it. It's very confusing. This is from the government, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, why is that if it's not a language or it's American Sign Language? What's the reason behind that? That's what I would question.
And understand it a bit more, because I am very skeptical when it comes to a lot of things. I spent so much time on the whole situation with 9/11.
Because the thing is, if you're doing any business deals with a company, you'll have information about that company, so you'd know how to approach it and what your limitations are with that company.
Well, from what I've seen about all this, it's just the people that have designed this are just jokers, and they're not telling us the truth, and they're deceiving us. I think the worst bit about it is the deception. No one actually knows any of this.
Well, that's the implication, isn't it? That would be the implication. Why is it written in capital if capitals are written for companies? Yes.
You know, understanding so much about like everything about it. For example, the flight part, the actual company was called, with the flight number of the same plane that hit the tower. Translate that into wingdings and look at the pictures.
That the made-up one cannot have a contract with the real one. So if you're saying, I'm who I am with a capital P and lowercase following letters, I can't have a contract with somebody with my name, but all in capital letters, because it's two different entities.
I'm sure it said birth certificate on it. No? Oh my God.
It's about, I suppose, understanding the whole process of when we're born, and why is the birth certificate not called a birth certificate? Why does it say about the warning about it should not be used as a form of identity, which I find is quite interesting why it should say that.
I don't know, because that means they're using it for another reason. So that means the whole population, not just the whole population, the whole world has been lied to, and they're doing something else with your proper certificates.
And also why it's written in the way it's written, you know, in terms of the explanation now given about capital letters and what is deemed a language. So yeah, it makes me question, what's this all about?
It's just freaky. It's like they planned it all along, so there's no way it was just, you know, just an accident sort of thing. But that's what I mean. I am pretty open with like these new sort of ideas and inventions. So yeah.
So, because why is it only in magic that you can use acronyms?
And I've heard that there are some legal ways to do this, but I don't know exactly how. But I know you can get out of this. You just have to know the right information.
I just think people should read more, and this information needs to get out more so people can wake up and see what's really going on. A lot of stuff is there in plain sight, but unfortunately you have to delve. And if you'll only know about it if you're privy to certain information. Otherwise you'll still keep making the same mistakes and allow this system, this world system, to manipulate and to control you.
Well, it's because I'm still learning about this, you know, it's a learning curve. And all the books, I wasn't aware of a lot of the books and what they actually are about. Because obviously you would need to look at all of them to get a better understanding of what is language and how language is used or misused, I suppose.